Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Hope you're having a good evening and Shabbat Shalom out there. All right. We are going to be doing a commentary tonight for To Live and Die in LA. I look forward to entertaining everyone with the commentary and also some discussion on some movie news. And we're going to be starting the commentary probably in about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll do some of our Q&A questions. We got one Q&A question that came in from Sydney, Australia that I thought was really interesting. And that's from Joe out there in Sydney. He gave me a very interesting question, so I'll get to that. So I hope everyone's had a nice week and are ready for a nice Shabbat Shalom this evening. Tonight we're going to be discussing To Live and Die in LA, which is literally one of the best movies, in my opinion. One of my favorite movies, I guess I should say. I don't exactly want to put it on any sort of platform if anyone hasn't really seen it before, because I do recommend you having the MGM DVD, MGM Home Entertainment DVD from maybe 2003, 4, or 5. I don't know when it came out. The DVD's over there, but yeah, it has these um, pretty functional special features, which, probably 40 minutes about the making of the movie. I haven't really measured out how long it is. But if you've never seen To Live and Die in LA, you can probably just think I'm talking about the Tupac Shakur song or something like that. But no, that was a really good movie, To Live and Die in LA. And To Live and Die in LA stars William Peterson. And he's the chap from let's see, the chap from CSI and also Manhunter by Michael Mann. Um, that character that he played would be portrayed by Edward Norton in the movie Red Dragon. And it's really important to when I do this commentary, I don't want to I want to point out things, but if I'm sparse or I don't speak the entire time, um, please understand that the movie has a lot that can be emphasized on its own, and I only want to illuminate some of the stuff that in getting to know William Friedkin, and in getting to know um, I'm sorry, I just get a little emotional when I talk about it sometimes, but because she's no longer with us, and she became not only not only a friend but a mentor to me. But anyway, I really missed Darlan, and I had met her basically over the phone at first, and then um, working on some projects related to this movie, and I was actually trying to make a fan film about this movie, a sort of documentary and continuation of the story. Um, and that's a project that can always be got worked on and again. Um, Became such a good in good communication with Miss Flugel. I mean, the last name always throws me off, but and it's just such a sad situation to see that she's dead, and look how vibrant, or I want to just say vibrant she is in this film, but look how determined and like, uh, as the plot evolves, and as if none of you have seen To Live and Die in LA, by God's sakes, please watch the movie. You don't necessarily have to watch it the first time. It's not necessarily required or anything like that. But you know, without saying too much, she's more powerful than her, and both women, or most of the women in this movie, are more powerful than the circumstances betray them to be. Um, you got Robert Downey in this movie, Robert Downey Sr. That is. Robert Downey Sr. was a filmmaker. A couple things of his I've seen, just kind of being interested in movies. Putney something or other, seen that. A couple other ones too. Um, I'm not really averse to him. Take him or leave him as a filmmaker. I think probably prefer Paul Bartel or you know some of Warhol stuff or some of this, some of that over his. But hey, I do really think he's a very talented actor in this role. 1985 or so, To Live and Die in L.A. Um, very, very talented actor in this film. Very sardonic wit about him. One thing about these MCU movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which feature Robert Downey Jr., is I've really missed seeing him in movies the last 12 years. Obviously, I mean, I've seen Iron Man, seen Iron Man 2, seen very, very little of the other MCU movies, maybe 4 or 5 of the other ones. Um, so I don't really watch his movies, so to speak, because I didn't see Iron Man 3, haven't seen any of the Avengers movies. Um, I haven't seen, the third Captain America movie. I've seen the first two of them. I haven't seen any of the more recent MCU movies, such as Black Panther, etc., all that. Um, don't even know if he's in that, for instance. But yeah, I mean, Robert Downey Jr., I grew up watching his movies, really happy for his success. I saw the 2 Sherlock Holmes movies. I've seen The Judge that he was in, that one movie. But those are just three um, non MCU movies that in our recent years, um, put aside, Tropic Thunder and whatever else you want to say, maybe some independent movie he'd been in. But that's pretty incredible, actually. He took a guy that, so I guess that's a reason I should watch the movies, and a reason that a lot of people probably like the character. This is a very strong actor, Robert Downey Jr. It's almost surreal to think that he's in the position and acting life and Marvel movies as he's the lead top dog for all these movies, and whatever, if it's coming to an end or if it's not, or they probably do want it to come to an end because they're having to pay him. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard like 50 million a movie. I never know any of that if it's true or not. It's what I hear. I mean, so anyway, obviously William Peterson went on to superstardom. What 14, 13 years after this movie, for a TV show that has definitely had its moments. It had some episodes directed by, I think, one episode by Tarantino, if I don't, but not mistaken. And what was so jarring about that is I was so excited to watch that episode. And then I remember tuning in. I'm like, oh, this is literally him directing a CSI episode. It showed how he could do something for hire. And it wasn't necessarily, I'm sure he just, you know, the money was good enough for him to buy a sandwich. It's days or weeks shooting on a TV show. Even if he is Tarantino, it gave him a little bit of a bonus. It's still, it wasn't nothing like he was getting from the Weinsteins, all that money back then. And he probably got shorted some of the money through these years, and hopefully he can get some good profit share situation going on for Sony and all these movies that he's got going forward. But God knows, I mean, he ain't hurting for money like you or me or anyone else out there. you know. So really appreciate everyone joining. And Shabbat Shalom. I'm doing a To Live and Die in LA live stream here on the Barbecue Network, and very excited to have everyone on board. Let me know what your first experience was in watching To Live and Die in LA out there in the live chat. And we do have hopefully have some people out there, and we can get a lively live chat going on. That would be fantastic. And To Live and Die in L.A. is a very unique film indeed. I think I'll just kind of cut into it and after I just go to one pretty sizable big news that I broke several years back. It became in the movie print media. It's just kind of fallen by the wayside, and it's that WGN or WGN America, as they were branded, was developing To Live and Die in LA into like a new series. But clearly, I mean, out of the loop in the world of television the last year or two, just because I work on my own projects and things like that. After years of being directly involved in more aspects of the business. But yeah, I just feel very strongly that I'd like to get an update on the To Live and Die in LA TV show. Seems like something way better for streaming now, but when they were doing all this stuff, discussing it in 14, 15, and 16, yeah, streaming was pretty remote. It wasn't like that was, the preferred way of going about it. But, obviously with everything shifting the last couple of years, never know. I usually don't even like talking about, stuff like that. I used to talk about movies and the development and all that. But I will be getting a screener sent to me for a movie called The Hustle within a couple weeks. Now, it's not necessarily an Oscar screener because the movie is clearly, doesn't have any Oscar or awards aspirations, but just through, knowing the screenwriter as I do, having a business relationship with some of the people involved with the making of the original one, I will be being able to see the movie exclusively. Um, and when I say screener, it's actually just a screening, and I'll be able to see that and then be able to get a digital copy of it um, within. I don't know how that will all work, but really excited to go to a live screening of it several weeks in front of it, in front of its actual release. They're testing a more sophisticated cut of the film and discussing the film The Hustle, Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. And it's something that's done in the test screening processes for all these movies. And since I'm not really directly involved with any of it, I can talk about it a little freely. And they probably, I mean, at this point, they don't even care that much. Any publicity is good publicity for that movie. The Hustle is a rebranding, or whatever you want to call it, a repackaging of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, the 1988 Steve Martin comedy, starring Michael Caine as well, and Glenn Headley, and what does he play in Star Wars? Emperor Palpatine. Ian McDiarmid is in this film as well, amongst many other very talented actors. Anton Rogers, um, the late and good friend of mine, Barbara Harris. Um, very sad that she passed away, within the last year, actually. So yeah, I've lost a lot of friends in the film industry. Schnepp, um, and clearly Barbara Harris, among many others. But anyway, my point was it's a rebranding of that film in that Anne Hathaway is playing the Michael Caine character, and Rebel Wilson is playing, not a surprise, the more zany Steve Martin character. So when I say any publicity is good publicity, I mean that. We're living in a atmosphere now where what men want very, 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 or what women, what would it be? What men, yeah, what men want. Okay, so the original was what women want. Um, and the sequel or the rebranding of that was called What Men Want, and that did so poorly at the box office. Really, I mean, it was hardly worth the effort of rebranding and redoing all that. So what I feel is, it's my hand right there. Um, Wrap that around someone's neck if they're not careful. what I feel is that these rebranding of these movies, obviously Overboard, flipping that around where Anna Faris is the one that abducted Eugenio Derbez in the remake of Overboard, which originally, of course, was Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. That one was barely worth the effort too. I made like $45 million domestic and probably a couple fish sandwiches overseas. Um, so we're in an era where, I mean, the hustle. I'll be surprised if that's gonna open big or anything like that. So they need everything they can to get behind that movie. So I'm happy to help promote it, help do anything. That's all conditional on if I enjoy the screening. Look at my hands; they're pretty huge. 6'8", 280. So yeah, that's pretty big hands. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna give you guys some updates about that as things continue. Getting word that you can expect an announcement in the next day or two that Ezra Miller has left the project of the quote unquote Flash movie, and that something is going down where they're starting to consider elevating more TV actors, CW ones, into bigger screen versions. And when I say bigger screen versions, that may be either streaming event movies or things to launch a new uh, kind of not necessarily CW streaming service, but a CW verse, basically event movies all made by CW, um, overlapping various casts. So that's what's being discussed right now. Um, that and the whole succession plan for Warner Brothers as well. So very interesting to see how that will go. And we're going to go ahead and get started on the To Live and Die in LA live stream. And might be some interruptions here and there. And the movie could be punctuated by my various animals interacting with me here. And mostly you'll get some pretty, hopefully, some commentary on To Live and Die in LA. And I'm not sure if you've all seen it before, but I think that it's for as highly ranked is it the movie as it is, and for as highly ranked as a lot of William Friedkin's movies are, I feel this movie is still kind of under recognized. I'm not gonna say unrecognized because some people really like it, but I feel like it should have screenings and everything that's like that. And we're going to take a quick interruption. I'll be right back. And when I come back, we'll do the live stream. Thanks so much. All right, thank you everyone for your patience. We will be starting the live stream in just a moment, and movie didn't really make a lot of money, but it wasn't like a flop either. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was like 21 million that it made, and that's actually even more than I would expect almost. I mean, not to be mean, but it's like it didn't have a star. It literally doesn't have a star, and in that time period, most movies that didn't have a star wouldn't really do well. Uh, you know, exceptions, sure, go a lot of exceptions to that, but you needed the stars back then. And no one in it's a star now, even Willem Dafoe. I mean, you can't put him in a movie and guarantee it that it's going to be a hit. In fact, most of the movies he's in are complete flops. Florida Project, not flops, but underperforming movies. They don't really catch on with the audience. The good movies, of course, the one where he played Van Gogh. Most people said they couldn't even find it to see it unless they had a screener. So, you know, Light Sleeper, uh, even that Last Temptation of Christ, uh, people didn't get behind that movie and it flopped. So, just a second here. All right, we have our dog set up on the couch now properly. The shipment has been received, so to speak, and she is perched and settled in. So, without any further ado, let me lower my volume on my TV, but I do like the soundtrack. So, you are going to hear it slightly in the background, and hopefully, you can sync up your copy right to the beginning of the MGM logo with the beautiful lion there. Looks like my dog, of course. Beautiful dog, good dog. Go ahead and start the To Live and Die in LA commentary. Welcome to everyone out there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play. Now, I bought this DVD several years back, 10, 15 years back now. Only had a couple DVDs back in the day, so this was it. Once Upon a Time in the West. A bootleg copy of Old School. I don't know the others. So I like this beginning. It says December 20th, 14:10 hours. The time and date stamp stop at some point in the movie. Everything's got kind of this random weird feel to it. There's 3 or 4 credit sequences in the movie, or what you think would it be credit sequences. Like you would expect to see credits on this song, but there's not credits in it. It's weird. Totally weird. Freaking explains why on the commentary, but it's very odd. Make sure my microphone is on. All right, so how's everyone doing out there in the chat? Yeah, everything's fine on that. All right. Wonder why in LA. So I've been to the Golden Globes several times. Transpire, Beverly Hills. I can't even tell you the name of it, but that's where the Golden Globes occur, right there. You got this Sam Elliott looking type chap. He's the mentor for William Peterson. So, spoiler alert, that means, of course, he's going to die his last mission, which of course, does happen very early on in this film, but not in the first scene. The first scene or sequence, they realized they hadn't shown any of the Secret Service trying to stop terrorism, so they added this whole part in to show that they actually could stop terrorism. And this guy stereotypically that you see him is a Muslim or Islamic fundamentalist, however you say that, and he's looking to he says death to America and Israel, da, 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 and they blow him up off the edge of the building, which will happen in a couple minutes. But when that happens, you see if you think that that's a scene that movie. As I said, clearly it was shot after all the movie, and they just wanted to add it in. So he spots some dude that shouldn't be on the floor walking by with a food tray. That's pretty intense spotting there. He can see the spotting of that, and then start realizing it's an Islamic fundamentalist. I don't know. I always thought that was a little weird. It could have just been some waiter, but anyway, he looks like a rabid dog as he's chasing his prey here, trying to figure out where that waiter with the servant tray went. He dropped the servant tray there, and of course it's suspicious. Food tray's empty. It's all a ruse, and he's up after this suspected terrorist here. And you got the president speaking, which I think they superimposed Reagan's voice over that last scene. And obviously this terrorist has killed a cop that was standing guard on the top of the hotel, I guess. Seems like there'd be more than just one in one station, but what do I know about tactical protection? You got William Peterson doing one of the first runs that he's done in the movie. He runs and dashes quite a lot, and they say he has cat-like grace as he runs or something. I guess he did play college football. He almost seems like he knows he's cat-like, and he's emphasizing this cat-likeness. See here, he's like the most basic terrorist ever. Death to America. He got the whole line right, He is a martyr, yeah. And then you got the old Sam Elliott dude. He yanks him just as the guy's about to pull the cord for the blowing up. And then you just see him blow up. Almost looks like a tomato exploding or something. Very odd series of events there, but shows their bond, I guess, too. I like the scene because it shows their bond more than it shows them doing, what you would expect from a Secret Service agent. Because technically, I know about the Secret Service. I'd like to see them do their money stuff, and that's what the movie's all about. So I don't really need to see them doing more basic Secret Service stuff like this. Not that was basic, but so after that kind of beginning, they go to another part that could very well be a credit sequence as well. And I think it is a credit sequence. Yes. Now we get to our credit sequence, and then after that we'll get a sequence that's just gonna. First time I saw it blew my mind. I hope it has a similar effect to you when you see it. But this scene sets up that next sequence, which is okay. You're gonna see the seedy part of LA now through this credit sequence, and you're gonna see what they're passing. They're passing bad bills, and then you're gonna learn about the process of bad bills in what could be another credit sequence, which follows this sequence. This movie is very, very layered. I don't know how else to say that. You got the first layer we just bit off. Now we got that freaky looking lady. Now that's a real, horses, donkeys going through downtown LA. That's a trip. That stuff still does happen to this day. You got Steve James in this film from the American Ninja movies. Delta Vargas. I believe he was in Touch of Evil. Seeing bad 20s getting passed. You're seeing stacks of money getting paid. Bud Smith, Scott Smith, They do a really good job on this film. Quick paced editing. This sequence as people are passing bad bills. No, except Thomas, they don't take 50s and 100s. Those are bad bills back then. Only small bills. The 20s is clearly the bill that people are trying to pass. They're trying to buy money. You see different exchange. And rest in peace to Robbie Mueller, another friend of mine, passed away last year, one of the greatest cinematographers of all time. Getting to know these people that made this movie, it wasn't just nothing, And I, been in touch with Gerald Pedovich. I don't know him as well, but I hope to talk to him. He had another movie called Boiling Point, and that's could have used Friedkin's direction. It could have used a number of different things, but still not a horrible movie. Directed by William Friedkin. Now that stops that sequence of an abrupt end to that credit sequence, and then this credit sequence will merge into an art sequence and then another art sequence. In this art sequence, you see the finishing of a painting, the unsheathing of it, the running and dashing through the beautiful house, the outside activity of looking at it, and then the self-immolation of a portrait, which is something that is pretty powerful, especially as the money and the movie about the money continues. You realize how invaluable paper is, and what's on the paper, and to burn the paper, and to burn people, and to burn things is all part of this movie. Things burn up. So this is a very fatalistic movie, very on the nose at times, but going on the nose for a lot of different characters. You got a guy here now. Okay, so got confused. It'll go to that next sequence about art after we see more about Peterson. Now, I don't really feel hard to say what I'm trying to say. I don't really feel the greatest. I don't relate to his character so much. He's a real thrill seeker. He goes over the top, over the edge, and then is ready to back it up. And that's the question mark. Is he really ready to back it up? Is he really ready to go that full extra mile? Or is he just about being on that edge? And he's on the quote unquote good side of the law, and he's got no problem with, I guess you would say, supplanting witnesses, keeping people under his thumb, basically. And he thinks he's on the right side of the law, but he's just got a lot of ego. And the homie's right when he says the stuff before he, kicks the bucket in a couple minutes. Says that you're, if you can read the subtitles on the screen where he says that the right wording is just your big blowhard or something like that. So Pedovich, wow. All my time and all my research and all my stuff, the Pencow character is literally named Pedovich, just like Pedovich. That's an interesting deal. I thought it was a slight variation on the name, but yeah, so he's a hot shot. They're characterizing him as a hot shot. And he doesn't like being talked shit on there, but then he blows his smoke up his ass because he says, if I'm going to go bag someone, there's no one I'd rather have than him. But then he's about to go do that. And he's pushed too hard. You take it too personally, you'll never reach retirement. And he says he's not interested in retirement. He calls him a hot dog again. About to give him a fishing pole, which is a sign that the man's about to die. I don't know when that cliche started, but there's a retirement present. That's never good. So then he's going to try to get some information out of him. He says, I know you're working on a bust, and that I want to go with you, but then he doesn't hard sell it enough. So that's what I mean by saying, is he really that hardcore? But of course, he has regret when Tallboy Sam Elliott is killed, but Tallboy needed him to be he needed to force Sam Elliott to go with him. But anyway, it's not part of the movie, so I like how that scene was all friendly. Hey, go to retirement, and you get to the real beat of it, and you can still tell that they may either worked on it or it just became something that they developed as their, is that, I like that. It just turned really quick to being like, I know you're working on something. You gotta tell me what you're working on. But then I don't like how he doesn't finish it. But that's fine. It's part of the movie. So now we get to this great sequence. Probably one of the best sequences in the history of movies. Really. It's so well cut. You could have put the credits over it to begin the movie. You got all sorts of things you could have done with this. You got a little bit of these images in the credits. But now you can see the real deal. Willem Dafoe making money. I'm not talking about paychecks. I'm talking about he is creating money before they put that new stamp and new stuff on new dye on the bills. When was that? Around the year 2000? Back in the day, people could counterfeit. I'll just leave it at that. Counterfeiting was a lot more prevalent in society. And I'll leave it at that. You can go ask your parents, you can ask your aunts and uncles, your grandparents. I'm sure they have stories about people that were counterfeiters. It was a pretty prevalent thing in society. And I don't know if it's become not prevalent, but I think it's kind of been whitewashed out a little bit. At least it's become more of a computer game. The the way that he's able to do all this stuff with all these chemicals and superimpose images onto money, and do everything that he's able to do, I find to be quite fascinating. They had a real counterfeiter come in, and show them the whole process. I'm sure that that's that person's hands at times. If not, it's some great acting by Willem Dafoe to really learn this whole process. Obviously, he's holding that stuff there and doing it and the blowing on that to make it disappear and all that, or make it appear. Pretty amazing to think that you can literally make money, and that as he starts making money and spreading it out in the streets, it's devalued at a fifth or a sixth of what the cost of it is and all that. So you can see why he has such a entrepreneurial spirit about what he's doing. He doesn't want to have to run down the value to 1/12, because then basically is it even worth what the printing press? So he makes 1/6 out of every 20. So that's roughly $3 on every 20, 350 or 320, 330. It's like 340 every 20. It's when he sells $70,000 worth of 20s. So he has to make those bills, and then he gets his profit back on that. It's a business, it's total business. And if he's having to water down his product and all the stuff that happens later in the film, because people are not being careful with the product, and I guess overusing or making the counterfeit spread too thin. Actually, I have to think about that. What's making it devalued? Just check the sequence out. I mean, you can go to the Federal Mint or whatever, U.S. Mint, and see how they make money, and it's its own process. But then you can go on the streets and see how this freak was making his own money, or this character in the context of the movie, and it's pretty awesome. Now, clearly, the soundtrack is just an awesome strength of the movie. I highly recommend people get it. I don't have it myself, but I think it's available online. I definitely have listened to the soundtrack without the movie anywhere near it, but it's evocative as fuck. I mean, there's some great scenes when we got where he's trying to go visit the girl in San Pedro, and the song's like, "Let's go out tonight and put on a show, get away from here, far back." It's just a beautiful song, and the images of San Pedro, California at night, really cool. I got some stories I'll say, but briefly, look at that old washing machine. It's just a total mid '80s industrial washer, and he's washing money right there. That's a totally different way of laundering money. So anyway, yeah. So I've found some of the old places in San Pedro and stuff. I've been to the Dog Run Bar and different places where this place was filmed. I tried to find the actual house and the different little locations. It's quite beautiful, the pursuit of it, but I'm pretty much sure, and I've found information online that the house is, that we'll see later, is not in the, it's not around anymore. But anyway, San Pedro, I highly recommend that area, and just driving around South Bay, where most of the movie occurred. So basically, what you just saw was Willem Dafoe finishing up his process of washing a bunch of money, then speeding away from somewhere in Lancaster, California. And then I believe he tucked some of the money into somewhere. All right, so then you got Homie G here. He's now um, tracking Willem Dafoe, I guess, and basically this whole sequence of events is not slow to develop, but it's not a surprise. I mean, you got Homie G now going to his fate in the desert, early morning dawn, gonna get taken from this earth because he should have had his homie with him, the quote unquote hot dog dude, William Peterson. So I've driven this route, as a truck driver from, I guess, Los Angeles to Lancaster, several thousand times. And it's a really interesting drive, especially at that time of the morning. So he doesn't really know exactly how he's going to meet his fate, but he don't look prepared very much. I'll just leave it at that. And he's a good look for this guy, but I don't know necessarily about his ability to execute this role beyond what it was. Let's just leave it at that, Like, if this role had been continuing in the film, I don't know if this guy would be able to hold up or hold on to every scene. But for the character he plays and for the, he's only got about 60 seconds left on screen, I find him to be suitable. Doing a little action thing here, hopping the chain link fence. I like that change of the angle. Going for an overhead shot right there. It's little flourishes like that William Friedkin really, really shines in. You got more action stuff here. He's jumping in a dumpster. Jumper in a dumpster. Never a good idea to be jumper in a dumpster. So he's rifling through there. He knows that there's some package there. I don't know how he gets all this info. I guess he knows how the counterfeiting ops work. And you got this scary looking hurly-burly thug of a hitman that you'll see. You got, what's his name? Trillin. And then, here you go. Scary hitman looking dude. That's what I meant. Yeah, he spits in a bomber jacket. And he said, buddy, you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. Pop, pop, pop. And he just blasted in the head over and over again, actually. And he's spitting like a motherfucker. Then you got the vultures flying overhead deep in Lancaster. Beautiful area. Almost looks like it's out of a storybook when you're driving sometimes, or also the Canyon Country. That's also a beautiful area. So on Christmas Eve, they go out there at 3:30 p.m. Haven't heard from their homie in a couple days. Obviously, they're about to have a surprise. Now, I like that part. They're driving in a car and just kind of peels out there in the dirt. Huge fan of this movie, of course. Not sure if that TV show is ever going to go forward. Would love to have seen, without like revealing too much, would love to see a direct sequel to this movie, but of course with John Pankow being quite a bit older now, and Bella Fluegel having passed away, and William Peterson basically kind of retired from everything. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I won't reveal what happens, of course. We'll explain, I guess, a little bit more about what possibilities lie ahead for this movie once we get towards the end of the film. But I'm not going to spoil anything, but you can see that he's got a daring do to him, this William Peterson character, and that his partner was saying he may not make retirement. So this character is definitely on a different kind of path than most people that just look at their job as a job. Because he's about to be shaken to the core by his discovery here. And then that will set him on a path where he don't care about what he has to do to bust out and get revenge on, or to get, not necessarily revenge, but to pull Rick Masters. He knows he's after Rick Masters. He knows his partner's dead because he went after Rick Masters. Now he's going to do everything possible to get Rick Masters because he's going to be running around here, and then he's going to look back and he's going to see, what he's about to see, which is, look at that dumpster. There's blood dripping from it. Now, that's pretty hardcore. Imagine your partner being found found dead in a dumpster. And you're gonna see just the blood, just the trickle of blood, and you're gonna look at it and think, "Oh no, that's not good. There's blood coming from that dumpster, and that's my old partner." So you got John Pankow. He'd go on to a really good role in a movie called Mortal Thoughts, which I still have to, review on this channel. I want to make sure I understand the final scene. So maybe I'll talk it out on there a little bit if anyone's ever seen it. Of course, he'd go on to a lot of success with a television show where he was Paul Reiser's brother-in-law on what do you call that? Mad About You, and they're bringing that back. And he's been in 20 or 30 other movies as well. Really talented actor. Not at all what you would think for this role, or not necessarily believable at first. Um, yeah, I knew his name wasn't Petrovich. It's Vukovic. Duh. Jimmy Hart was the name of the partner. So they're drinking some beers, chilling out on the beach. Pretty chill. He was the most righteous guy that he ever knew. Well, Pink Cat just said you couldn't understand why someone would waste him over a counterfeit beef. It's pretty silly. They have had a tail on the mule for 6 months. So Hanko wants to be his partner. He says, "I'm a bag master. I don't give a shit how I do it." He says, "I hear him, and they become partners." I like that scene. I like every scene in this. And you got Robert Downey Sr. there, playing Thomas Bateman. Stop doing it, dude. Robert Downey Sr. basically says, "Stop doing it, man. Like you're gonna have to stop doing it." Basically, that if you don't want to work with him, then you have to fill out this paperwork and all that. I really like this part a lot. It's a good chase scene. John Turturro passing bad money, and they're gonna have to chase him down. Really cool. You get to see the LAX in the '80s. And this scene, of course, they didn't have permission to run on the counter on the thing that they run on, but they do it anyway, and it's pretty tight. You know how it ended up looking. Good athletic ability to run on the people mover rail, or whatever it's called. So I like how easily it's able to be proven as a fake money. You just kind of rub your eraser on it. I think the real fake money look a little better than that, but whatever. Minor little point there. And now they're running after him. You get Turturro on the run. What's there than Turturro on the run? Kind of looks guilty already. Might as well go chase him down. Go get that Turturro. I like how you got that shot there with the plane moving in the background and then the two actors running. Leave me alone, dog. I swear, dude. This is a great part. I like a little sense of humor to this scene too, right at the end. Where the guy just has to go use the restroom. One thing you should notice about Totoro is he's really slippery. His character. Even when he was caught, he tried to get out again. Pink Cow puts his hand on a cop. And that guy just has to take a piss. I like that scene. It's like, oh, I just had to use the restroom. So you can go use another restroom, sir. We got a freaking emergency going on here. Take your nerdy ass in somewhere else and go piss. I like Totoro here, trying to be all hard in jail. He says, you got balls coming in here. He talks to the guy that he took the rap for. He's like, how you making it in here? He's like, how every other swinging dick making it in here. Hey, day by motherfucking day. But now they have an interesting conversation where trying to make sure that this guy is gonna, help him out when he gets out of jail. And also Waxman's a lawyer, says that the package was never delivered to him. So they get into a really heated discussion there. I think the cops would have shut that down before it got like that. I go to visit this lawyer, and that's Dean Stockwell. And Dean Stockwell is just coming back to movies at this point. He, of course, been a child actor, and then gone through, turbulent 60s and 70s. Started focusing on painting, I believe, at some point. And he decided, I'm sure, to come back to movies and make some good money. And Blue Velvet, Live and Die in LA, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Quantum Leap television series, his Oscar nomination for, Married to the Mob. What's not to like about Dean Stockwell? Pretty much dominates every scene he's in this. And here we get that first hint of that song here. Basically a song that kind of, anytime she's in it, you hear it. And he's meeting her at this little bar. We learn that she's got a son. You start rooting for her. So you talk about this hippie lawyer Waxman, Max Waxman, and they're gonna have to put an eye on him. And Masters obviously was already talking about Waxman, I believe. So her kid lives out in Las Vegas. Look how cute she is. Look how she's clearly running multi-game going on here, trying to get money as an informant, trying to, make him like her and all that. There's a lot going on, man. A lot of seduction at play. Now, you got this crazy alternative art type demonstration going on here, where one of these actresses is actually Daphne from Frasier, and they always point her out when it occurs. And you got the short-haired lady, and that's, of course, Deborah Fewer. very talented actress as well in her own right. Obviously, Jane Lee's Daphne from Frasier. This is her somewhat her big screen debut, I believe, at least in a big American movie, I guess. So that's clearly Deborah Fewer. She just looks so much different from that angle, of course. And you know, she does have nice hair, but she's got it all capped off. She's all into her own weird stuff, and she's got some control over him as well, mentally and physically, it seems. And he points out Serena, and that's uh, Daphne from Frasier. So now they're gonna have to go fuck with Max because he got ripped off. So right there in the dressing room, he takes his girlfriend's top off and starts kissing her, and then you get the Daphne from Frasier lady staring back, and you get the idea that there's something going on. So now they're doing surveillance at a monastery across, or a church across the street from where Max Waxman lives. I've been in this area and stuff, and I don't know, man. More power to them, but more moral of the story is this: these guys are very imperfect in that they're doing a stakeout on a cold winter's night, and they literally pass out. I don't think if you can do this, I've never noticed in the front of the house it says Max Waxman, so it's his little office in his house. So in case we hadn't heard Max Waxman's name enough yet, now we see it as well. That's pretty cool. I never noticed the detail there. So you got this hippie lawyer. He used to represent a bunch of hippies. And I like his office. It's totally 80s. I like everything about this movie. It's totally 80s. Every little shot. You got this blue room art, and then once you get into a more violent part of the scene, it becomes a red room where they're standing. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm a fan of The French Connection. I'm a fan of his other movies. Don't get me wrong, but I really feel this is a fucking masterpiece. I mean, it's like a lawman's version of Pulp Fiction in a way. I don't know. It's a story out of Pulp Fiction. All these characters are more interesting than characters even in Pulp Fiction. I think they seem more, not more, but as interesting, I guess. Different, you know. I'd like to see the world of these continue, but I don't know. I don't know if that writer, when I do talk to him, if he's going to say, he's involved in the TV show or he's coming up with like a new version of the movie, something like that. I think it's be really cool to take this and show what counterfeiting is like nowadays. So they're trying to stay awake. They open their window and all that. They're going to start talking about base jumping. These guys just really don't have much in common. They really don't have much in common as partners. And Jimmy Hart and Homie G, William Peterson, didn't really have much in common either. Which is, I guess, the irony of it all is that they're living and relying on each other, and both of them have nothing in common other than that they have the same employer, basically, and they have supposedly their heart in the right place for doing their job. So I like the moral ambiguity out of this film, and also the loyalty ambiguity. It's almost to the point as if the what's his name really give a fuck, or is he just trying to act like he gives a fuck just so he can chase that snatch, put her under his thumb, and do little side jobs to basically fuck with the criminals because he can't take them down and get them on trial. Basically, I don't know. It's a trip. This movie. But I really like that shot right there. The red frame surrounding this Max Waxman he's about to get fucked with. Sure, it's on the nose. Sure, it's whatever. And you got some really crazy art going on in this house. And she says that she loves the rain. And my favorite line of the movie. He says, yeah, it's groovy. Max Waxman doesn't know what's about to be coming with him. He thinks he got over on John Turturro. John Turturro gets set up at the airport basically, and it's his word against his that he, you know, what do you call it? He made the drop, and he says he didn't make the drop, and now Waxman is basically going to start making moves on Deborah Fewry, kissing her stomach, kissing her. How you doing, Max? And then so this is like the devil walking in. Willem Dafoe with his garish look. I want to fuck my little man. He's just gonna backhand him, I think. He wants his 600K. That's not a small amount of money. 600K divided by 1/6. That's like 100K. Fucking animal in the zoo. So Willem Dafoe is relying that they fell asleep or that they're not really under surveillance. That they're just being surveyed, I guess. I don't know. Otherwise, so he knows the money is in that safe. It's kind of a trip to think that Max Waxman would be that stupid as to put this old money back in this very obvious safe in the middle of the room. Oh, he's got some stick. And he beats him with his stick. And he's looking for his gun. Willem Dafoe took quite a big whack there. And now Max Waxman just lost his masculinity, got shot in the balls, and he's going to get beat to death with an African statue. '18th century Cameroon. Yeah. So he does not like the art taste of Max Waxman. Quite enjoy that scene. The jig is bust here. Homies fell asleep. I love this very penetrating music score, sound effect. They drank on the job, obviously, because it's a stakeout, and they just basically passed the fuck out, and the whole jig is bust. Max Waxman's murdered or killed, whatever you want to call it, manslaughter, whatever. He's dead, and these dumb fucks don't even know that it got bust because they passed the fuck out. Because my theory is they don't have good camaraderie. You need good camaraderie in anything. So I've been to that building, yeah. And they run across there and jeez. You know, the whole jig is bust. I see Max Waxman dead. I don't really we don't get no reaction shot to that. It's just basically fuck. They got their shit screwed. But what they did take is a piece of evidence. And now they're gonna have a fight over it because he told them from the very beginning or whatever that he wants to do whatever he can to get this fucker, and that means, you know, doing whatever he can, literally. And they say, you know, you can't take evidence, all that, but he literally take the evidence and told him Pink I was gonna say he just could wait until it got booked into evidence, yada yada. But Peterson's impetuous as fuck. Wants to do things his way all the time. I love this scene. Just let it play out and you can see the tension between the actors. So with that little crime scene book there, what they got is evidence of Rick Baster's pigments and all this. It's basically obvious there's a chain of death. Wherever Rick Masters goes, people are dying. And that book is evidence. So he don't like being told that he's being a punk, but he is kind of being a punk, says Pankow, or says what's his name, to what's his name. Peterson to Pankow. Oh, in response to oh yeah, just let's let this scene play out. Beautiful song, beautiful execution here in this scene. Let's go out tonight. Put on a show. Put on your shoes. I've been driving around on hills all through St. Peter trying to find this place. These hills still exist. I couldn't find that house on the left there, or their actual house. I could find that house in the back there, and that one, that white one. Obviously, you could find the the oil buildings. They're all still there. Beautiful, beautiful town. I saw Friday the 13th and met Sean Cunningham. I interviewed him. Oh gosh, February 13th, 2017. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy world out there because economically, I guess there was better for the St. Peter area to just raise this area, and I don't even know what they use it for now. It's not necessarily more valuable housing. I don't know. It's weird. You'd think there'd be some great development there, but it really isn't. So you just walk right into this broad's house, early morning hours here, and turns on some weird music. So she gave him Max Waxman, kind of, and he's dead. She knows it. Oh, look at how good she looked. And she says, "Too bad you couldn't catch him dirty. He would have done anything to avoid jail." And that's a good point, but yeah, it just washes right over him because he's more into the control of it all. Look at him now. He's taking off his clothing slowly. He's about ready to fuck, fuck out of her and her with him. I mean, it's definitely there's a sexual attraction to these characters, these actors, and it's overriding what they should be doing. Like clearly, he would be better at his job if he would have just done stuff better and not fallen asleep. And then obviously, I would have Max Waxman working for them, and Max Waxman would end up dead, obviously, but they would get more evidence than just a little book, which is hard to prove shit. So I don't know. I love applaud her for going full nude basically from ass to the tits there, um, to the front side, but pretty um, bizarre. Oh yeah, you get a little piece of the action there a little bit, but it took 6 months for her to get next to Max Waxman, and then now he's dead, and now that really does have consequences. And now she's trying to bring it back up, and he's just being a dick. It's like she's a big informant, and like she gave him Max Waxman, and he couldn't keep Max Waxman alive. And he says, "You want bread? Go fuck a baker." And then he says, "I gotta go." He's basically just using her, and he's got some weird towel of hers on her head. I think he's using her comb to comb himself, or he's got his own comb there. Really weird. He's really kind of, I mean, obviously he's the main character in the movie. Okay, so now she drops the dime on there's a Chinaman coming down with the delivery, and then he's gonna start fucking with her, and once he becomes more desperate and trying to get info on that, and for some very nefarious purposes. Now that exact angle, I found a vacant lot that looked like where you can get that bridge there. Um, and now she just says if you had any balls, you jump off the thing without a bridge. And she says it again, the same thing that happened to Max gonna happen to me. And and he says, "You hear what I said?" And she says, "Nothing's gonna happen to you." So that bridge right there Kind of sad. That's where Tony Scott jumped off of. I believe that's the St. Vincent Bridge in San Pedro. What would you do if I had stopped you giving you information? And then it says why. And she said, I just like to know. And then he said, I'd have you turned in. So he realizes he's on the razor's edge right there with her, and then he needs to assert himself, and he kind of does. And then he gives her this look again. Everything's kind of mercurial to it now. I like this scene. Good foot chase. They realize they gotta just start turning people. If they can't get Max Waxman, they gotta turn people on street level shit. I admire their what would you call it? Their persistence there. They had a bad day, bad night, and they come out there the next day, the next night, and they basically do this pretty cool foot chase. I find this to be a very cool foot chase. I mean, running through the streets of San Pedro on foot. Pretty cool. Really cool, in fact. Where it goes, how it's executed. I really like this foot chase. I mean, while you're chasing you because you're running. Against the fence. Yeah, good foot chase. Yeah, I like how this foot chase continues. That one ended, and this one continues. Now they're on the bridge and all this. And yeah, I mean, William Peterson had okay tackling ability there. He went and tackled out guys. I guess he was pretty good at college football. Says, I'm going to go throw your ass over the bridge. Talk to me, I'm going to throw your ass over the bridge. And he's an intense cop, and that's actually over the line to say something like that. So I like this scene quite a lot. That guy leads to this guy, and this guy is a cripple in a wheelchair, and he teaches painting, and talks about Rick Masters being an incredible painter when he was locked up, and that he worked with some of the prisoners. And I like this acting by this guy. He was a good painter in real life. So this guy was into burning his paintings even back then when his homie was hanging with them. So homie G Pound Pankow is the only one going down past the railroad tracks to the warehouse with a Chinese character on it. So that little cripple gives him a good description there. And that's it. That's the Rick Masters money headquarters in LA proper. Obviously, he's got a little bit of a place out there in Lancaster. Oh yeah, I hope you all are enjoying the commentary for Live and Die in LA. I mean, obviously there's hours worth of stuff to say about this movie. Steve James, they're live from American Ninja, American Ninja 2, among many other action films. I really like the casting. I think William Friedkin stepped up and put him in it. He definitely tries to use his action and size gravitas towards the foe. And they got all sorts of business stuff. They got money sells, and then also he's trying to pay him off to knock off homie G Tortura. He's up in Obispo, and I think he may try to deal his way out. So trying to deal a hit on this punk ass Tortura. So he wants 100K in 20s. So then he says 50,000 in hundreds. And big bills ain't popular. 20s he's gonna give him. So he's gonna give him 50,000 in 20s. It's only about 9 grand or 10 grand. Because what Steve James doesn't get is the principle of watering down money. if you put too much out there at a certain value, then the value of the money out there becomes watered down. So 75K is the number that they come up with in 20s. I knew that that number was in my head for a reason. Because he tries to lowball, so it was 100 and then the 50. So he calls that car a piece of shit. And I don't think you can call that car a lot of different names. I don't think you can call it a piece of shit. It doesn't, maybe not maybe the most efficient, but I thought that was kind of harsh, and especially in front of a lady like Deborah Fewer. No, whatever. She's definitely involved in his business operation. She's she's definitely involved. There's a Galactical Warrior. That's like a Star Wars reference. I think this is kind of classic. Everyone knows something's about to go down, and even his cellmate or his friend just can't put it together. They're gonna move on somebody. Everyone knows to go away. About to be live filmed here. I think they had a good time visiting on the set. Visiting the prison, the real prisoners being used and all that. Pretty cool opportunity for them, really. If Shiro gets the vibe, he better fucking make a move here. And they sneak up on him and they try to fend off these fuckers, and his friend does try to fight him off, but I guess, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I actually like to replay that and make sure that I get that right. I think that one dude that was talking about Star Trek Warriors actually may have been joining in there. I guess pretty minor. But he got stabbed several times and he lived to tell about it. Claudia Leaf is his actress girlfriend. And that's how they can track him, I guess. Football game at the airport. I always like that. In there running around at the airport. So he's gonna need surgery, and he doesn't want to get surgery in there. He's now gonna turn on Rick Masters. I think John Turturro had been in a couple independent movies before this, but I can't name them. This is definitely his first big movie. Most people like, well, I do have to do the right thing more because he's not in every scene in the movie. Like Rick Masters is not in every scene, but then it's clearly he's the main antagonist, whereas Turturro is this more, like I said, mercurial type character, and also kind of a comic character, or a street level example of how the money operation works. This character is really important to bring the audience in, kind of see what exactly a witness is and all this, you know, because they're trying to do to him what they've done to Darlene Flugel's character, and obviously that's a relationship that he's cultivated through sex and betrayal over 2-3 years, I guess, or at least some period of time. Love this scene here quite a lot. The hit didn't work out, and Willem Dafoe is in here with this crazy looking thug boy, and there's gonna be a good little shootout here. Okay, so only 2 people were responsible for killing Cody. Those 2 black guys trying to kill Cody. The Turturro character's name is Cody. Very strange name for that character, by the way. So 40 grand is owed back. I don't know how they came at that figure. So they all get like they're fucking mad dogging each other. protective custody. Churro is now in protective custody, and Steve don't like how this is all going now. So Steve Jones does something very threatening here. Steps forward, and he pulls out a knife from his belt. It's crazy. It's like it's attached to his belt. He says, "Now look, my man." Steps forward. Yeah, he gets a pretty cool little knife from his belt and puts it right in his face. Go get some ink and print some paper. This is a cool role for Steve James. Okay, so then we got Homie G behind, ready to fight, take a punch. It's a good little action scene here. Everyone at it, just throwing themselves at each other. I'm sure there's a lot of pain from these actors. That dude's a fucking beast, by the way. Oh! Shoots his one homie in the face. So he ends up getting the gun back. Shoves a gun in his mouth and says, "You have to suck on this so you can get my paper." That's pretty brutal. The guy was like, seriously had already been shot. So then they're just naked here. Willem Dafoe is naked and burning money. Some paintings that he's made, obviously, and also the paintings of this money. Yeah, he's made paintings, works of art, is what he looks at this money as, and now he's burning it. It's his right to do so. I really like this scene. A lot of back and forth between these two actors. This actor, I believe, was in Touch of Evil, or if not, Rio Bravo, one of the two movies. Haven't really acted in years. Really like how you get the scope of how large this whole system is in this office. But here you got this dumb little rogue cop, or rogue Secret Service guy, trying to dictate something in an office this size. Like, guys like Masters make him mockery of the system, but this whole system is a little bit larger than everyone. Guys like Masters are even, in the world of corruption and all that, someone's allowing him to get this far. So it may as well be someone in this office, and if it's not, it just shows you how much of a bureaucracy everything is. You got this books, weird paintings, weird degrees on the wall, big ceilings, all wooden look, all fitting in Los Angeles law and all this. They always got the courts and everything that's really wooden motif. And then some of them have a more modern one, which is sort of jarring. But there he goes, and with his swagger, he comes back in the room, and he's going to get what he wants. He's going to get his writ. He's going to get this paper signed. But when he gets his paper signed, he puts all his effort into this scene, and then he's not ready once he gets possession of Futura. I'll just kind of let the scene play out, and then I'll comment on it after, or I'll maybe make comments about it during it. But oh my gosh, it's really embarrassing how you get to put a prisoner released to him to this John Turturro. And obviously John Turturro was slippery when he caught him in the past, and he becomes a slippery witness. So they do continue with the day and timestamps. Okay, so now it's January 19th It's like 3.5 weeks after the homie G Sam Elliott lookalike old partner has been killed. So Roseanne Brownie makes up this whole ruse that his daughter is, sick at a hospital. They go to this hospital and he starts stating this game that his daughter has changed his outlook on life. And they say, "Where's Roseanne Brown?" They start heading to his particular daughter's room. I see this William Friedkin should just say, "Fuck no, you're not going to visit your sick daughter. She fell, she fell ill." Because as you get in this here, Turturro wearing his little blazer. Now he's gonna get his hands uncuffed because Peterson just is always trying to shepherd and turn witnesses, never really making sure the witnesses are ready to get turned. And this guy, little monkey bars, yeah, he ain't ready to get turned. He does that thing where he hits someone in the ears really loud. That really would hurt. And then what's his name? He just escapes. He beats him to death almost. He gets beaten by John Turturro. Roseanne Brown is a black woman that's recovering from a bicycle fall. She's got a relative that's upstate. Yeah, her husband is serving time at a Vista for armed robbery. Unbelievable. He gets really beaten up badly by John Turturro. What an embarrassment. He had to fight to get that writ, and now he's embarrassed like that. Not a good situation going on here. Then you got a downtown bar and Dean Stockwell meeting Pankow. I love this. Dean Stockwell's getting the person out because the search warrant had a wrong color of the house. And he says, "I don't make any apologies for being an attorney. If I didn't accept the case, somebody else would, without a doubt. Without a doubt." I love how he repeats stuff in this movie. Crossed my mind. Says stuff like that. Jim Hart, he's still talking about what happened at the beginning of the movie. Masters have been calling him in the middle of the night. So you got a creepy ass dude, counterfeiter, calling you and treating your lawyer like he's one of his mules. He don't like that. He calls a man an animal. He says he's thinking about turning on Masters. So he asked Pankow how bad he did when his friend wanted. Seems like what's his name, Peterson, should have been there and be like, "Sir, we want it really bad. We're gonna do everything we can to get him." But not having Pankow and Peterson on the same page causes problems because Dean Stockwell's ready to deal, setting up a meeting. So then they both arrive at the meeting, but then they're out of context. Like Peterson doesn't really seem like he's on the same page with the whole story, clearly, and the ruse doesn't hold up. Says, "Cut yourself shaving, Mr. Jessup." No, he got hit by a tennis ball. He's abrupt. He doesn't play into Rick Masters' hand. He says, instead of handling that little aside, he says, "I got a friend in Hollywood, Doll and Doug, a little sarcastic. And they're talking about island banking and stuff now. They just don't seem well enough to it all. They're going to the gym and they're done the gym, or they're going to the gym, or they're going to the sauna now, and This is a woman here, Deborah Fewer, and she's just scanned their car and basically don't find anything that reveals much about them. And some fake documents and stuff like that. At least they're smart enough not to bring Secret Service cars there because they keep turning up dead in the next minute. That's how lethal Rick Masters is. So they have those banking letters, but none of the letters say their specific names. Jessup and Brown, Jessup and whatever. So then I start talking about no, so they want to do $1 million buy. $1 million buy that's worth, like I say, it's not the full currency rate, but still, that's a pretty significant deal. So they need the money to put the down payment on the buy, and so that's I think he wants 200 grand up front. They're weird. They're hanging out with the enemy here, and they don't look like they are very convincing to me, at least. Going to this gym 3 or 4 times a week for 5 years. People know me. An easy span of time. Reputation speaks for itself. I love that line. I don't really know what he means by that. I guess is counterfeiting reputation. Pretty funny line. And he got Robert Downey putting him off. All right. Hope everyone's enjoying the commentary out there. We are winding down to the second part of the movie, or like the final act, and I think the seeds have been sown. There's been enough conflict where this guy's been on the, basically the knife's edge of conflict in almost every sequence that Robert Downey is just yelling. I like this scene quite a lot. I actually forgot about that scene. Just confronting them about how bad that Cody situation went. Cite some rules like Rule 127, blah blah blah. I like that part. It's just places they got pretty decent burgers and stuff right out of there. So it's pretty good place actually. I put the phone right back. I thought I had enough battery. Fuck. Sorry. All right. Now they're basically talking about really breaking the law. He's talking about taking this Asian dude hostage, basically, for his money. This little Asian dude. And then once they have that money, they're going to use that to pay off Masters, to prove, to get him to be proven that take the buy. That's a crazy, crazy plan. So now they're in complete conflict. Obviously, they weren't ever getting along, and now they're getting along far less. They never had good chemistry. I love this scene. He's all driven here into madness. He's basically entering hell. Enter. He comes into the strip club. I love the song playing in the background. I love the metalhead biker that comes in. Beautiful scene here. Just oh yeah. So one of the Q&A questions was who's my favorite cinematographer? Oh, my late friend, obviously, of this movie. Great cinematographer. Mr. Mueller just was a fantastic artist. Look at that metalhead biker coming in. They're so cool. They get to pass through. The Chinaman comes down from San Francisco and he buys diamonds and gold or whatever. And so his name is Thomas Ling. I love this idea that it's being called a Chinaman. Old world terminology, I guess, but I guess I could still call someone a Chinaman. So she already has all the info set up because she's just trying to lead this guy into this trap, basically, of going too far, I guess. I love this strip club scene. Just midday strip club scene. She says that she thought about having the lean guy get taken down. Oh, he says the key right there. I can do whatever I want. So she wants a payoff. 5G, she wants more than 5Gs. He says he's not going to throw her back in the joint. He's throwing that over her head. He has ultimate leverage over her. A girl like that doesn't want to go back in the joint. So Thomas Ling is now arriving. There's a, a notice for him to go to the window right there. To yeah, this thing is kind of funny. Go here, oh Thomas Ling, and then he gets a note saying hello, a-hole. And he turns around and boom, gets apprehended by or abducted by William Peterson, and he says, "What is this, a game? No, it's not no game, dude. Not no game at all." So then you got that, you know, some people were following them. So if he's, as we're gonna learn more about Thomas Ling, he's a little bit more than just, you know, a buyer coming down from San Francisco that happens to be a Chinaman. But also something else. And what they've done is just abducted him. If he bangs that one girl, she learned about him, or they learned about him. Obviously, this being a William Friedkin action movie, we're now ready for a big chase sequence. Pretty cool scene. They fuck with this Ling guy. They try to look what's inside of his briefcase, and there's nothing there. Now Ling fights back. At least they have each other's back, but they still don't have any good chemistry together. I don't mean that the actors don't have good chemistry. I mean that those characters, as they're written, they were never on the same page with this idea. And it goes horribly wrong. They're like low-level criminals here. So, you get this fucking guy in flannel running around. What a cool sequence. They killed that Thomas Lin guy. And they didn't even get the money that they're supposed to from it. Thank God, and they both can't believe it. It's just an awesome sequence here. And I filmed this all over LA. Just a beautiful part of the movie. You see this crazy parts of LA. Just a great part of the movie. Good girl. And I'll be right back. Thank you so much. I'll be right back. Enjoy the sequence. It's actually a little bit of a cold evening. I love this train part too, where the train is going alongside the car versus train. Really love that scene. I wish there was more car versus train stunts like that. Very cool scene. Very cool scene indeed. Yeah. movie's rounding into a conclusion. For those of you that have never seen it before, what do you predict is going to happen? What do you predict is going to happen? Oh, it's quite cold here this evening. I don't know why. Really cool part of the movie here too. Same guy, different guys are coming after you. Black guy that's standing on the edge of the river there. That's the LA River. Dry concrete. That used to be a river. Man, here are some great sequences in French Connection. But what happened here and what happened there already is one of the best. And you see how this character is filled by adrenaline and how Bingo is not. Very odd buddy cop movie. In fact, it's not. They don't like each other. I mean, they like each other to put on appearances, but they're not like each other. I guess what I mean. I love how there's just like this whole like Hotel Continental John Wick type army coming after them. I don't know who those are, I guess, as we'll learn. As I should just might as well say, because we'll miss it in a second. Now they're going the wrong way on the freeway to get away. Thomas Ling, who they killed, was an FBI agent, so the people coming after them are actually the ones doing their job. And they're now criminals driving away from the action. And then when there were an alert put out to them later, it's because they killed federal agent Thomas Ling. And these people are federal officials doing their job to kill them. I found that interesting. Very much feels like they're on the right side of things, but they're not. And very much at this point, they're not on the right side of things at all. I find that really interesting. What makes the Mel Gibson character successful in Lethal Weapon is he has a identity similar to William Peterson, but he's actually lived through and proved a lot, whereas this guy is almost all bark. He hasn't really ever proved much, especially in these circumstances. This is his first proving ground. And he came up really soft in the stakeout, came up really soft in working with his partner, Art. And he came up really soft with the, I love this part, traffic report. I knew something crazy went on, so the traffic report just said something real vague. I've been in accidents, or I've seen that happen before. Nothing to see here, folks. I love baked beans. Eating some of those right now. I think they're delicious. Yeah, so the Lethal Weapon character, I mean, he is a badass. Well, this guy just thinks he is, kind of, but he is too, but he's still not there yet. Better than being shell-shocked like Pankow. You got those guys grooving in the background. He's all hyped up. Comes into her house, tripping, talking Lakers, drinking like a weirdo. Hyped up from breaking the law. As a Secret Service agent, I resent it. Or as someone that values what they can do, I resent him at this point. He's over the edge. He won't even tell her what he's talking about. Just starts talking about the Lakers. Stars are God's eyes, so she's all into mystical shit, just like Deborah Pure. Now, she's still manipulating him. My theory is, which is positive. I like that she's doing that because he's using her. He's a murderer. What they did today was murder. Raymond Fong, not really Thomas Ling. Boom. I will be right back. White males in their 30s driving that car. They've been identified. I love these scenes as we're heading towards the conclusion. Beautiful movie. All right, everybody. So, have you guys all seen Rampage? It was Have you all seen Rampage? That was a movie starring Michael Biehn that William Friedkin made. It had many development problems in it. So I don't know if it was ever really released, but I found it to be at least a one-time watch interesting. I don't know if I'd ever want to see it again or anything like that. I don't know, but it's definitely interesting. The Hunted. I really wish he would make another couple movies. Very talented filmmaker, dude. So they're trying to make a deal here, Dan. And I think you'll find that this movie winds down into a pretty cool conclusion. That being said, I cut it off here actually, so you guys can watch the end of To Live and Die in LA on your own and find your own conclusions and post them in the comments. There's never been a movie like this that I think has ended the way it has, and I find it to be a really cool ending. So, with that being said,